Tea time with Austin and Krista. So we just moved to Germany and we found out why the Frankfurtians aren't really the most favorite people of Germany.
Yeah, our airport experience was not the best, to say the least. I will say, our flight was nice. We got off the flight and somehow we got through the human part of customs quickly. But the problems started when we traveled with our two large dogs. And that's kind of where our problems started, is when we went to go pick up the dogs from the dog side of customs.
Yeah, because there's a part of customs that's ran entirely by dogs, like on Zootopia.
More like sloth.
Anyway, we went to go pick up the kennels and the dogs were still inside of them and Charlie was barking his head off.
He did let everyone in Frankfurt know he was there.
Yeah, he was saying hi to everybody. He wanted out.
Yes, he did.
But we couldn't let them out yet because they had to go to the bathroom, and we didn't want them to go to the bathroom at the airport because we're civilized humans.
In the words of the people at customs, when we said, yeah, they might need to go to the bathroom, they said, oh, that's not good. We said,
but
yeah.
We tried to pick up the kennels, and obviously they're too heavy. They're big pet mate, extra large, giant, and our dogs are 95 and 75 pounds respectively. So we did what any sane human would do. We asked for a cart. People in Frankfurt don't believe in carts. Keep that in mind, children.
So we had to football push them.
So I pushed them. We took a couple of our suitcases. We had 5 suitcases because, we're Americans. And we pushed them all the way across the airport. We rolled them maybe 20, 30 feet. And then I would football push the dogs in their kennels still after a long flight. And it probably took us about an hour just to get to the custom door.
Yeah, but they got through. The dogs were fine. Then our next process was to exit the customs area. So again, we continue with football pushing those suitcases and the dog kennels in succession.
So I put 2 of the dog kennels together and put some suitcases on top, and I pushed all of them all at the same time.
It kind of reminded me...
Because you couldn't go in and out of the door.
That's true. It reminded me of those team building challenges they do when you're in school, where you have to do these impossible tests of here's all these things you need to push to the other side with your team of so many people. Make sure you make it without touching the lava.
Yeah, but except there's only 2 of us and the dogs are stuck inside. Anyway, we got out and we had another problem. We had hardware on the kennels. We couldn't take them apart because in Denver International Airport, we had a wrench and we put out metal parts on our dog kennels so that they let the dogs fly. But on the other side, we didn't have a wrench anymore.
And it was important to get them apart because they will not fit in any normal sized car.
Yeah, so I went to go get the rental car, which I also didn't know where it was. It took me 45 minutes to find the rental car place because I walked all the way around Frankfurt Airport. By the time I got the rental car, I knew already that it was way too small, but I didn't want to pay 900 euros for a bigger car. Yeah. So our only choice was to take it apart.
In the meantime, as I was trying to figure out these things, I was sitting with our pile of luggage and 2 dog kennels, and I was accosted by many homeless men, at least 4, but for a good amount of time. I had 3 sitting around me in a circle, telling me stories in German, some of which I understood, and some I had no clue. One man was very, very drunk, so I'm attributing me not understanding anything to his drunkenness. Another one was telling me stories about dogs. Another one, I just said no, and he went away. But the one telling me about dogs would not leave my side, and he sat halfway in the dog kennel. I don't know what was going on, but I couldn't leave the luggage. I didn't know what to do.
And I wasn't there. I was walking around the airport.
I was very stuck, but at least this man kept shooing off the super drunk man. So, protection of some sort, I guess.
Meanwhile, I was driving around and I got lost because I didn't read anything in German. And I'm a little bit thrown off by the metric system in terms of distances. So I started driving around and ended up taking 20 minutes to get back to the airport because I got so lost. I don't know. Maybe we were just tired. We don't know. Anyway, I parked the car and I got back and we found out we didn't have the wrench. So we had to basically get back into the baggage claim area without a, authorization. So we asked a couple of airport employees for help, and eventually I ended up at this random shop for luggage in the airport, and with a guy who didn't speak English, obviously, because, we're in Germany and people don't speak English in Germany all the time. So he gave me some pliers and a wrench that didn't fit, and I walked back and we started to take off the nuts and bolts off the kennel.
We eventually did that. It took longer, but we did do it, so that was great. Then, after all of this happened, Austin went to get the car again.
But, of course, I didn't remember where it was, and I told Krista, you're going to have to give me 30-40 minutes. I have no idea where I parked.
Meanwhile,
all I knew was that I parked in 327.
Yeah, meanwhile, homeless men come back and start telling me many more stories about their dogs.
Oh, but Bella and Charlie did go to the bathroom before that.
That's true.
So that's good.
That's how the homeless men came over, is because the dogs attracted them.
But somewhere during the whole airport debacle, the water bottle fell off of Bella's kennel. So we don't really know if she got water when Charlie got water. We don't know.
We don't know anything.
Anyway, I started to walk towards where I thought I parked the car, and I ended up in a Frankfurt airport center. Didn't know what that was, but nobody was in there, so I couldn't ask for help. I walked back downstairs, and I walked through an office parking lot that didn't really look like I should walk through it because it said verboten everywhere. So I think that means forbidden. We don't know. Anyway, I walked through there. Then I came to a dead end, and there was a ramp that went into the parking garage and one of those rails that they put on the side of highways. So I did what any sane person would do. I tried to climb over it, except my back is still kind of messed up. So instead of climbing over it, I climbed up to it, and then I got on the ground, on my back, and rolled underneath it. Then I continued walking. Eventually, I found a guy who was collecting carts, and I started talking to him in my really broken German. And in the middle of our conversation, he picked up the phone and started talking to somebody else. And I waited with a blank stare. And then, probably after 5 minutes, I just walked away. And then I found the car, and then we drove back, and then we had the problem that I knew was coming. We didn't have room for the kennels in the first place in the car. So what happened after that, Krista?
So, Austin said, Krista, we need to make a choice. Do you want the dogs or the kennels? And I said, well, obviously the dogs. I can clearly see we're going to struggle to put the suitcases in. So, out with the kennels. So then, it was figuring out how to get rid of the kennels. So, I went back over to the Lufthansa desk and I was like, please, can you help me? I have these kennels, they won't fit in my rental car. Can we get rid of them? And they were like for a bit or forever? I was like, I guess forever. I don't know what to do with them. Can you help me with options? I'm so tired. I literally don't know what to do. I've never been here before. I just need some help. And then the guy was like, unfortunately, 10 days ago, I'm assuming, December, we could have just taken the kennels from you, but somebody complained and now it's against our policy to take any items from passengers. So kind of SOL. And I was like, yeah. So then I don't really remember what I said. I was really upset, but the other lady spoke more German, and I just was getting a little teary and frustrated and discouraged, so I said something in German along the lines of, I'm so tired, I'm new here, I don't know what to do, can you please help me? And so, thankfully, the man had a heart, and he was like, all right, let me make a phone call. So, he calls up his friend, I don't know, in the lost and found department, and he was like, all right, gives me the nod, he was like, keep it on the DL, I can help you out.
And that's why we made a video about it, because it's on the DL. Anyway, definitely. We got the kennel, we got rid of the kennels, we filled our car with the suitcases, and we didn't really have enough room for everything.
And our 2 giant dogs.
But wait, hold on. Our 2 giant dogs also were in the car, and that's all.
Adios, amigos. Choose, choose.